I, a female nearly adult, live with my parents. I have an older sister, 29, that my parents had when they were super young. Like I think my mom was 19 and my dad was 18. They did not do a great job with her, and she has a lot of problems. She's chronically unemployed, and she's a thief. She has 2 kids that are okay. They also live with us because her boyfriend didn't want them around. I like the kids, but they're spoiled little brats my parents dote on to make up for being crappy parents to their mom. My parents won't let me put a lock on my door because it's their house and they don't want that. No problem. I talked to the kids and explained what would happen if they entered my room without permission. We have an understanding. Well, my sister broke up with her boyfriend and she needed a place to stay. I begged my parents not to let her stay with us. They declined. So I begged again for a lock on my door. No dice. I have to go to school, so I can only guard my stuff sometimes. When I came home on Friday, I found my car absolutely trashed and the side of it destroyed. My sister had gone into my room, found my spare key, and taken my car. I have a security cam and I have evidence. Then lost control on the ice after a day of eating crap and tossing fast food wrappers everywhere. She sideswiped a tree. When I saw my car, I was livid. I told my parents that I expected her to pay to fix it. They said she didn't have any money, so I said that I'd call my grandparents. They helped me get the car and insurance. After talking with my grandfather, I returned to talk to my parents. I said the insurance would cover fixing or replacing my car, depending on the damage, but that I would have to file a police report, and that my sister would probably be charged for stealing my car. They begged me to tell the insurance that she had permission. I said nope. So rather than go through insurance, they're replacing my car, but they're using the money that they had set aside to take my nieces and me to Orlando next summer for my graduation. It's fine. I can do without seeing Disney World again. But my parents, sister, and nieces are upset with me and saying that I'm the idiot for denying my nieces the opportunity to go on a vacation that they've never had. I just asked them if a lock for my door would have been cheaper. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and you still need a lock. But curious as to if your parents even know about the security cam. Totally don't blame you for getting one, but just checking because if they didn't allow you a lock, they might not permit a security camera. Those aren't really related in our parents' minds. A camera doesn't allow her to be alone with a boy or get away with smoking or something. Play stupid games and win stupid prizes. Your parents could go the cheaper route and send your sister to jail for grand theft and teach her that they won't always bail her out. Then no ruined vacation either. They're all wrong. It's not your fault that the vacation is no longer a possibility. Your sis was the cause of that, enabled by your parents. They can all blame themselves. Honestly, I don't think your sister will learn her lesson until she faces direct consequences, like prison. It could be the best thing for her in the long run. Get therapy, a GED, but just learn that being a lying, entitled twit will get you pummeled in the cafeteria. It could be a positive for her going forward. If they began to raise their 29-year-old, she might actually grow up in her 30s. OP, tell your parents. Honestly, the more I think about it, the more I think that we should just report it to the police and let the chips fall where they may. After all, sister did steal my car, and you're right that it's not fair to nieces to miss the trip because sister decided to break your trust and the law. And the last thing I want is to be responsible for my nieces missing out. So let's just report it to the police. While I understand families deciding to handle situations like this within the family rather than reporting it to the authorities, that's dependent on the wrongdoer being genuinely sorry for their mistake. But your sister isn't sorry, not even a little. Otherwise, she would recognize that her choice took the trip away from her children and not be constantly trying to guilt or blame you. Update. Hey, I just got home from school. There's a deadbolt on my bedroom door, and my mom gave me a key. She says that she's keeping the other one for emergencies. I agreed as long as it was only for emergencies, and I showed my sister the video of her stealing my car keys. She knows I'm not kidding about making a police report. I, 43 female, have 2 teenage daughters, Molly teen and Ella young teen. My daughter Molly is very athletic and is at a regular healthy weight. My daughter Ella, on the other hand, is quite overweight, not so much so that it stops her from living life, but enough that we were encouraged to help her lose weight by her physician at her last appointment, which we've been trying to help her do. Recently, Ella's been very jealous of Molly because her sister doesn't need to go on the same diets. She's been treating Molly unfairly and calling her all sorts of names like skeleton and complaining that we're punishing her for having a different metabolism when Ella has always had a very unhealthy diet, whereas Molly tends to eat very healthily. We have been punishing her for her treatment towards Molly by taking her phone and Xbox, but she always does it again, even after we give them back. Today, this is when it hit its worst point. Molly has grown since last winter, so she needs a new jumper, which we were going to buy on the weekend. But during the week, when looking at Ella's closet, I noticed some of the clothes she had put to the side to be donated as they didn't fit, and it looked like they may fit Molly, including one of the jumpers. I washed the jumper and asked Molly if she would be okay with wearing the jumper to stay warm until the weekend. She said yes, and that she would prefer it to her old ones, as they weren't big enough to cover her completely in the winter. However, when Ella got in, she completely lost it, and I returned to her arguing with her sister. When I came in, Ella grabbed the jumper, trying to pull it off of her sister. I broke it up and asked Molly to go upstairs so I could try and talk to her sister and figure out what was wrong. She said it was because Molly was wearing her jumper. I asked her if she wanted to keep the jumper, and Ella said no, she wanted to throw it away because it wasn't comfortable anymore, but that she didn't want her sister to have it. I said okay, but her sister would still wear it for a few days until the weekend to keep warm. She then got very angry and said we just wanted to make her insecure and that Molly doesn't deserve new jumpers. I explained that Molly would keep the jumper, and she went to her room, refusing to talk to me. This morning, Molly called me to her room, and there was fabric all over the floor where Ella had cut up the jumper. I grounded Ella and told her I had enough of her jealousy, to which she called me an idiot in ruder terms. I have been thinking and I wonder, am I the idiot? Edit. Ella has been in counseling for some time. Not the idiot. Ella's going through a crisis. She needs to see a different therapist because she's taking out her insecurities on her sister, which is unacceptable behavior. Punishing her is not going to work. She needs more professional help. Also, finding Ella an activity that she enjoys too, that's active, might be a really good idea. But the clothing thing is ridiculous. There's no reason for Molly to go cold when there are clothes that fit her. Disagree. In the emotional sense, it's probably embarrassing for Ella to see her hand-me-downs go to Molly because it's a very visceral reminder that she's the larger sister. It's a one-to-one body comparison, even though it's certainly practical for Molly to wear the sweater as a stopgap until she gets a new one. There is no way Ella's viewing this in a practical sense. Clothing was in her closet. You are the idiot for taking your daughter's clothing without her permission, and you sound like you don't have a lot of sympathy for Ella. Agreed. OP, you didn't think at all about how it would feel for Ella to see her older, more conventionally attractive sister in something that no longer fits her. And when she tried to tell you, you brushed her off and dug in your heels. Could you not have loaned Molly a sweater for the weekend when it meant a lot to Ella not to have to see her sister in this sweater? Ella sounds like she's genuinely in emotional distress, and you're making it worse. I, 31 male, have about $67,000 in debt between college, my car, and a little bit on my credit card. I've been making monthly payments on all of them, but it still may be many decades before I'm debt-free. My fiancé, 29 female, is relatively debt-free. This wasn't always the case. She got a few scholarships to help with college, but still had to take out a few loans to finish things up. She had to get a new car because the old one was cursed and was in more accidents while parked than we can count. And she did go through a manic period and almost ran up her credit card in her early 20s, shopping so much. However, she spent a lot of time getting her finances in order, worked multiple side gigs on top of her normal job, which I commend her for, and is now debt-free except for her mortgage. She makes many extra payments and has almost $300K in investments, savings, etc. I'm very proud of her for everything she's accomplished. Now that we're engaged, we're planning on moving in together. She had a roommate we had to wait for the lease to end before I could move in. and she said that before the wedding she wanted me to be debt-free. We chose a date 3 years from now, since some of our family's out of the country and needs to save. So it'll be our 7th anniversary, our favorite number. She pulled out a spreadsheet of my debts and pointed out how if I put all of my paychecks, minus maybe $200 a month for fun money, into paying off my debt, I'll be debt-free by the wedding. She would cover everything else: the mortgage, food, bills, insurance, our pets, vacations, date nights, etc. We could then both aggressively save for the last bit of time for the nice honeymoon, and after that, focus a good amount of our funds on taking out the mortgage and getting my own savings up to snuff. I thought about it for a day or so and came back with this counteroffer. She would pay off my debts, and I'd pay her back in a year and a half, since I wouldn't also have to be paying interest. We would put a bigger dent in the mortgage and still stick to the timeline. She seemed unhappy with this and said she would have to think about it first. I casually mentioned it to my friends over a beer to get another perspective, and they said I'm the idiot. They would do anything to have her 2 years offer to get debt-free, and even if I paid her back, I'd still be taking 1/5 of her savings for a year and a half. So I'm here for judgment. Am I the idiot? Wow, you are the idiot. You are an entitled idiot for not accepting her very generous offer and expecting her to do even more. Your counteroffer is laughable, and she would be an idiot if she agreed to it. Chances he would bail right after she pays his debts off? High or very high. Or he would say, she's always lording it over my head that I need to make my monthly payment, or doesn't understand why I skipped it. We'll be married soon, and our money should be exactly that, our money. So why should I pay myself back? Or some other BS nonsense. Agreed. I would be telling her to cancel the wedding if she was my relative or a friend. She can be so much further ahead without OP's dead weight. It'd be different if OP was humble and felt inspired to find ways on his own, also to help pay down his debt faster. It reeks of a selfish lack of accountability to sit there and try to poke holes in her plan because it doesn't include immediately paying off his debt. It's your debt, not hers, and your debt payback plan is the weird one, not hers. I, 28 male, am currently pretty much estranged from my family. I have a younger sister, 27, Tori. When one of my friends, Brendan, 28 male, started dating Tori, I hated it at first, but eventually I gained a best friend. They got married in 2018 and I was the best man. Brendan is now like my brother. We're that close. In 2020, Tori left Brendan for another guy. Reality TV type crap. My parents were incredibly upset, as was I. My sister moved in with the guy immediately. My parents knew I was angry but had to support their daughter. I went no contact with Tori and low contact with my parents. In 2020, when Tori's second wedding happened, I didn't go. My dad and I had it out over it. My mother tried playing peacekeeper for the family. My parents then started giving me the silent treatment. When the 2020 holiday season came around, it was the height of COVID. My parents said that I should do my own thing this year. Because I went out a lot, they didn't want me spreading diseases. My exact response was, if you're worried about catching diseases from other people, shouldn't you be more worried about Tori? I mean, she's the one that likes to sleep around. My dad and I had another fight, mainly due to his family over everything mantra. I hardly spoke to my family in 2021. My parents would send me a text like, when you're ready to apologize, we'll be here, crap. I responded with a Bible verse about adultery and how they support it. I was berated again, and we hardly spoke until October 2021. Last year, I was told we were doing Thanksgiving at Tori's place, and if I wanted to come, I needed to apologize to Tori and her husband. I laughed and ended up going to Brendan's family, where Brendan's mom posted me with her family on Facebook and tagged me with a quote about family being those you choose. I never told her to post it, but my mom saw it and went nuts. She asked me to come over and talk and even commented on the post. So this year, my plan is to go to Brendan's family again. My mom called and said she wanted to host this year. I asked if Tori and her husband would be there. She said, of course, they're family. I said, so was Brendan, but I saw how you treated him and me, so no thank you. Yesterday, my dad called and said, my mom is distraught and has been for years. She wants us all to get along, so I must do the right thing. I said I'll come if my sister wasn't invited. He said that he wouldn't do that to his family. I said he did it to me for 2 years. He claimed I did it to myself. My mom is now saying that it was my dad that has been this hard about this the whole time. I said she should have divorced him then, because I'm no longer putting up with this crap. Either my sister isn't invited or I don't come. I've now had some extended family reach out to me and say that my parents are upset and hurt. I said my parents are totally okay with not having me around for 2 years. Am I the idiot? Everybody sucks here. This is a poor excuse for everyone in the family to be estranged. Marriages break up for a variety of reasons. Your sister and Brendan know what happened in their relationship, not you and not your parents. Yet you've taken your sister's divorce in a bizarrely personal way. I mean, it's pretty clear that his sister cheated on her husband, who was his best friend. I'd be pretty upset at the person who betrayed my best friend. I think it would be better for his mental state to learn how to move past it, but he's allowed not to want to be around these people. It's not okay to make his parents choose, but I think it's all right not wanting to spend the holidays with the people he doesn't want to spend time around. Well, suggesting your mom divorce your dad because he chose his daughter over her ex-husband is not crazy at all. Nope. OP, it seems like self-righteousness is your identity. If you're going to be quoting the Bible verses, you should look at yourself first. Be kind and compassionate with one another, forgiving each other as God forgives you. Your poor mom at this point, it's like you enjoy watching her suffer and feeling superior. It's obvious that you're deeply embroiled in and enjoying all the drama. Assume you're aware that you can remain civil with your sister and her new husband, while at the same time supporting her ex-husband, your friend. It's very clear that you don't value your relationships with your parents or your sister, and that's fine, but it does make you an idiot. So the moral high ground you're so comfortably inhabiting right now? Get off it, idiot. I, 35 male, have a daughter, pre-tween, and a son, tween, with my ex-wife. I recently got engaged to my fiance, 23 female. 2 days ago was my son's birthday. The kids stayed with me, but unfortunately I had to go to another city for work and couldn't spend the day with him. This also happened for my daughter's birthday a few years ago, so I let them go to their mom's home because I didn't want her to be alone for her birthday. Well, my fiance suggested spending the day with the kids this year, and I thought it would be a good idea. They like her, and it's a good chance to bond with her even more, so why not? From what I've heard, the kids enjoyed it. However, my ex is really angry. She called me an idiot because she thought the kids should have spent the day with her, not my fiance. Then she blew up at me and said many rude things about me and my fiance. I think she's being unreasonable because it was the kids' time with me, so I get to decide what to do, not her. You are the idiot. It was the kids' time with you, and you weren't there. Given it was your son's birthday, you should have checked with the ex to see if she wanted to spend the time with him that day. Put your kids first. Would you think a kid would like to spend their birthday getting to know someone new, or with another parent who knows their interest and can make their birthday special? Did you ask your son how he wanted to spend his birthday, since it was technically your time with them, and you weren't available to be with them? He's old enough to decide something like that. You definitely should have asked him if you didn't. I see why your ex is mad. You are an idiot and a crappy parent. When you can't spend time with your children, the biological mother comes next in line. Of course, that's also in the interest of the children.